You're listening to Pitch Perfect, the podcast, not the movie. I'm one of your hosts, and my name is Nate, and I am joined by my co-host, Josh. You might know better from his work as Russell Crowe's vocal coach on Les Miserables.
Oh, ho, ho. That's me. That's what I do.
That's what he sounds like. And we are joined by our special guest for this season of Pitch Perfect, our friend, Sunny.
Hi. I'm here again.
Yeah.
She's here again. She was here for the previous episode, and she'll be here for the next one.
She's back.
And maybe the one after that. Do you want to be on the season finale?
Probably.
Or we just come up with an idea for a movie?
We'll see.
Okay, cool. We watched... Josh, you got a thing.
I do got a thing. It is claimed that after a lecture, William James was accosted by a little old lady, offering up a seemingly ridiculous counter-theory to his proposal that the Earth revolves around the Sun. And instead, the Earth moved through the cosmos on the back of a giant turtle. In turn, James asked, if your theory is correct, what does this turtle stand on? You're a very clever man, Mr. James, she would reply, but it is simple. The first turtle stands on the back of a second larger turtle, which stands directly under him. And just like an Aka cascade of turtles, so too does Pitch Perfect, the podcast, not the movie, now currently rest its focus on Pitch Perfect, the movie, not the podcast. Welcome to Pitch Perfect, the podcast, not the movie, does Pitch Perfect, the movie, not the podcast, where my co-host and I talk about the films contained within our namesake movie franchise, Pitch Perfect, and how things may continue down a better road in the future, or just be a better movie.
Yeah, so we're watching all of the movies in the Pitch Perfect franchise. There are only 3 as of now. I don't think there's any plans to make a 4th one. And then we're gonna learn what we can from watching those, and then we're gonna try to pitch the perfect Pitch Perfect movie on Pitch Perfect, the podcast, not the movie. Season 3, Pitch Perfect, the podcast. The movie, not the podcast. I fucked it up.
Good job. This episode, we're talking about Pitch Perfect 2.
Pipi-toi.
Pitch Perfect 2, Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect 2, The New Batch.
Yeah.
Pitch Perfect 2, sequel name. Does it even have a sequel name?
No, they don't have, I don't think any of them have subtitles.
Oh, bummer.
So, this movie is a sequel to the previous movie.
Yes.
That's it. You understand.
That's all it really got.
You know Sunny from our previous episode of this season of this podcast, so we're not going to reintroduce her because she's already there and she's great. Instead, we'll just turn to Nate for the summary of this movie, Pitch Perfect 2.
Okay, so in this one, the Bard and Bellas are still together and performing a cappella in a competitive capacity. They have won 2 more competitions since the first one off screen. And in the beginning of this, they experience another embarrassing setback. But instead of puking, beloved character Fat Amy exposes her butt and genitals to then President of the United States, Barack Obama.
And Michelle Obama.
Oh, yes, also her. So they're disgraced. They're going to be excommunicated from the Acapella Association by the announcers from the previous movie, or apparently the presidents of the Acapella Association. But
they're doing a podcast?
They're also doing a podcast, which is gimmick infringement. There can't be a podcast in Pitch Perfect, the movie, not the podcast. And also, anyway.
This is why we'll never do Tusk.
Yeah. Also, it's too scary. I'm afraid of walruses. Anyway. So, they cut a deal where if they win the worldwide international acapella competition, then they will not be destroyed. I guess this organization has the capacity to just disband them unilaterally.
No, they weren't allowed to recruit new members or defend their title.
Yeah.
Or continue on their national championship tour.
Yeah.
Where they just go to a lot of places and do ads for cars?
Well, no, they would just perform at, conferences, I guess.
Yeah, also there was, a puppy bowl thing that they mentioned.
Anyway, they are replaced on that tour by a German a cappella group called Das Sound Machine, who are also their main competition in Worlds. The A plot of the movie is basically they've got to compete with these talented Germans. The B plot is that Becca, Anna Kendrick's character, the lead from the previous movie, who I guess is still kind of the main character of this, sort of?
Yeah, pretty much.
Gets a job as an intern at a record label? She's an assistant. Yeah. She's an intern who works for a record producer. And she's got
It was a label. The company just I mean, there was a company for it. And everything.
Okay, yeah. Well, she's got to impress this famous producer who is played by Keegan-Michael Key and is like weirdly not a direct analog to any famous music producer as far as I could tell.
No, but he is the nephew of Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. No, is he the nephew?
Yeah.
Yes. And also, he has an employee for him that is his own nephew that he hates.
Okay, I thought Snoop Dogg was just calling him nephew because Snoop Dogg calls everybody nephew.
Does he?
Yeah, that's like one of his things.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Maybe that is just the way it is. But it seemed
that
in the movie like their like he's...
There could be a joke about the fact that Snoop Dogg calls people nephew.
I mean, he just said, that's my nephew.
Yeah, but he calls people... Yes. But also he famously calls people nephew.
I didn't know Snoop Dogg had like a Hulk Hogan thing.
Yeah, that's nephew is his brother.
Alright, please keep going.
Anyway, she has to impress him, and then also she's keeping this a secret from the rest of her team because they're very focused on winning the world's thing. Also, there's a subplot where Fat Amy is in love with Bumper, Adam Devine's character from the previous movie, who's a washed-up failure now.
Like Adam Devine in real life.
Jeez, dude.
I've seen Jexy. Don't even.
That's just step one in the mosaic that is going to be the Jexiverse. Anyway.
The other subplot.
Yes.
Subplot C.
Is that Haley Steinfeld is playing a character whose name I remember.
Emily Junk.
I remember it now. She's new. She's the only... They managed to do some sort of loophole where she approaches them because she's a legacy. Her mom, who is Katie Seagal, is a previous Bella. She is the only new recruit they're allowed to have this year. And she wants to impress them. And also she has written a song that she keeps shoehorning in opportunities for her to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, their competitions go poorly. They go to a camp to have a team building. They build their team back. Becca impresses the music producer with a Christmas mashup, but then when she shows him all her other mashups, he's like, you gotta do something that's not a mashup. So then she teams up with Emily and they produce a song that's not a mashup. And that's just kind of the end of that plot. There's not really like a super clear resolution to it. And then they win the competition. And Fat Amy wins the heart of Bumper Johnson? Is that his last name?
It's probably just Bumper.
Bumper Allen?
Bumper.
I think it's Bumper Allen.
I think it's Bumper Allen. Yeah, so the last 20 minutes of the movie is a competition where we don't see much of it, and then the Bellas win by doing original songs and also Legacy.
I mean, it's basically...
Original song, excuse me.
The same ending as the previous movie, but just with an original song instead of mashups.
Yes.
Now, this movie is like, mashups aren't enough. We're sort of entering this kind of like Dragon Ball Z power scaling kind of thing, where it's like the Kaioken works on Vegeta, but doesn't work on Frieza. So, like, I don't know what they're gonna do for the next movie. Like, where do they go from here?
I legally can't tell you. Because I really want to see your reaction to the third movie. Sonny and I have both seen the third movie. You haven't, and we will not give you any information on the third movie because we really just want to see your first reaction to it.
What is better? They can't do matches. They can't do an original song.
You didn't even conceive that this movie could exist.
Well, the thing is, I was like, what is this movie going to be? And it's like basically the first movie again with like more stuff happening. But it's more boring.
Yes.
It's like not even, because like the first one had that whole like romantic comedy thing going on, and
yes.
like that was relegated to like a scene every now and then of these two characters you don't care about.
Oh, just to be clear, she's not talking about Fat Amy and Bumper, though, because there's another plot that we forgot about.
I did not.
Well, we didn't mention in the summary where Benji, the magic-doing guy...
who barely existed in the first movie.
Yeah, the love interest roommate from the first movie is a more important character than he is in this movie.
Yeah.
And he has kind of a romantic subplot with Emily that sucks and doesn't really go anywhere.
I mean, it goes in the direction that they seem to become a couple by the end, but it still sucks.
Yeah, so that's basically what happens in Pitch Perfect 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could tell from the way we
a lot of nothing.
talked about it. We were not huge fans of this here movie.
So
I'm
now
so excited.
We're going to talk about ratings now, and I think it's only fair to start off with our lovely guest, Sonny. Tell us how you feel about this movie and how it may have hurt you and where in the dog.
Boring! It was boring, but on top of that, there was so many weird racist jokes.
Yeah, so one of the new characters she's new, right?
Yeah, she's new.
I don't know.
She's like
She
joined
was not in the first movie.
years. Like, so this takes place like 3 years after the first movie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So at some point during this, a new character has joined the Bellas who is named
Flo.
Oh.
And, like, the whole joke with her is she's an illegal immigrant that has experienced many hardships in her life, and that's funny?
She was, like, trying to one-up people with sad stuff.
Yeah.
And it was funny once. There was one time where it was funny.
Was the diarrhea bit?
Yeah, it was the diarrhea
I
bit.
also wrote that down in my notes as a funny part.
That was probably the funniest joke in the whole movie.
It's where, like, they were talking about how bad this was for them, like, how bad they got of them being kicked out, like, the worst thing in the world. And she's like, I've had diarrhea for 7 years.
Well, I think the thing that makes it funny is she goes, one time I had diarrhea for 7 years. But she's also saying it to them like it's supposed to be, like, something that's going to help them figure out this current situation. I think that's why that's funny.
Yeah,
also, diarrhea for
really
7
funny.
years is funny.
They probably just wrote that joke and they were like, this is hilarious and we're going to keep doing it. And then they, like, didn't have anything, so they just, like...
They do give her one other funny line that's not that joke. When they're camping and she says, why would you do this? We're living like dogs voluntarily.
Yeah.
Which was like a pretty good line, which is not involved in that bit. And it's like, you could have given her other jokes that weren't that one joke.
Yeah.
But they don't do that.
So that is involved in your rating?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. There were so many scenes that were just, like, supposed to be fun, like, clearly supposed to be funny, but it was just, like, awkward and weird.
I feel like they amp up the, like, negativity in this movie. This movie's sense of humor is very mean.
Yes, so mean. I mean, they were mean in the first one, too.
It feels like there's more of it in this, and that some of the characters are worse. So, like, the two announcers, who are played by John Michael Higgins and Elizabeth Banks.
Who also directed this movie, Elizabeth Banks, taking over the role from Jason Moore?
Jason Corman or something like that?
No, Jason Moore.
Is it Moore? Okay.
Yeah.
Why did I think there's Jason Corman? That's okay. They're, like, worse in this. Like, they're worse people. Like, now, like, the bit with John Michael Higgins' character is that he is, like, a mean conservative guy.
Yes.
Who, like, is like overtly sexist and kind of racist. Mm-hmm. And also the kind has been in the previous movie. The bit was mostly just that they were both mean.
Yeah, but also he was sexist in the previous movie.
But it's ramped up in this one.
Oh, way more.
Yeah.
Like, he would say a thing, and then Elizabeth Banks would be like, really?
Yeah, and now she's like his straight man?
Yeah.
Yeah, when she was not in the
She was
first one. They kind of
definitely
traded
not.
off in the first one.
Yeah.
About trading off. They were both kind of weird, crazy people in the first one.
Yeah. So, if you were to rate this in any form of rating that exists in the world?
Did I give a rating for the last one?
Don't remember.
You said Anna out of Kendrick.
Oh, right.
It was a perfect movie because Anna Kendrick was in it.
I mean-
Will you give it the same score?
Anna Kendrick is in this movie.
She is, and she was so pretty.
What if this
No.
was a Kendrick out of Anna?
No, this was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
It was awful and not fun to watch even a little bit.
Okay.
That's my rating.
Okay, we're not going to try to quantify that. Nate.
Yeah, this movie's not good. It's significantly worse than the previous one. Mm-hmm. And it's, like, boring. It's so... I don't really know what the previous one did to make it more engaging. But this one is really unengaging. Like, so it's more about the competition, at least in terms of, like, how much time the characters spend talking about it than the previous one is, but I care so much less. I think the big misstep with this is that, like, the entire stakes are the Bellas will not exist anymore.
Yeah. I think, though, that the whole setup in the first place just doesn't really work.
Yes.
Like, if an acapella group accidentally showed their vagina to the president, that would be all over the internet, and people would want to see them.
Yeah, they would be a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm also just saying, like, they're all graduating. Like, none of the characters we care about are gonna be in the Bellas anymore, so why do we care if the Bellas still exist? Like, the movie does not sell the idea that this is, like, a valuable institution. Like, would be perfectly fine with just, like, the Bellas end, and, like, I don't know, this school could probably just start a different a cappella group, and I don't know why it has to be this one. And so it's like, the stakes of the movie don't really matter.
Yeah. They kind of try and do something with that by introducing the whole legacy angle, but they don't actually do anything with it.
No, they don't.
No. So, number system?
It's probably like a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
Like, it's like, it's not, there are some funny moments, but it's like, there's more misses than there were in the previous movie.
That's true.
And it's kind of boring, and it's like the vibes are worse.
Okay. I agree with a lot of what's been said. The movie, I think, feels structureless. I think what you said about like not having stakes is really key here, because it doesn't just feel like it has any. Stakes that it gives just don't seem to matter. I also agree that the movie needed like more new blood. Like, we get Flo, but she's also graduating. And her character's not great. Haley Steinfeld's character of Emily is fine.
There's not much to her.
Yeah, it would have been great if there was like maybe 2 or 3 of them, and there was a more of a legacy thing going, like passing on to the next generation sort of thing. Star Trek Next Generation.
What if there were
perfect too?
Literally 2 or 3 of them, and there were like 3 Haley Steinfeld in the movie. Like, she played like triplets.
Ooh.
And like one of them was not interested in the legacy thing, and she got to be brought in.
Maybe. But I am a little bit less down this movie than maybe the 2 of you. I think it's still kind of entertaining, and like if it came on TV, like I was channel surfing, I'd still probably sit and watch it for a little bit. There are parts of it I still enjoyed. So I'd probably be a little more generous and give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm not on board. Another thing that really bugged me about this is, and this is a thing I brought up several times when we were watching it. Mm-hmm. So, let me refresh my memory of what some characters you named. Because I'm very bad.
I'll give that to you. If you just tell me who you're trying to remember.
No, I got it. Okay, so Aubry is not, she's gone. She's been graduated. She done graduated off screen.
She done been graduated
off screen before they started the movie.
Graduated.
And she's not on the team anymore. But Chloe is still there.
Yes, Chloe played by Brittany Snow.
And now her character is just Aubry. She's just become the other character from the previous movie. Her whole deal now is that she's really intense about the Bellas and the competition, and she is like unnaturally holding on to this thing that she should be letting go, even though she was kind of the one that was okay with letting it go in the previous movie.
Yeah.
And that was weird, and I didn't like it. It seemed like a very lazy writing move.
Also, we didn't talk about this much on the previous episode, but Brittany Snow's character, Chloe, had a thing in the first movie where she had nodes that she had to get removed, and then that caused her in the finale to bring a really low bass voice to the Bella group, which was supposed to help them, because the all-female group doesn't have the lower voice range. And then this movie, that isn't a thing.
Yeah, they don't even acknowledge it.
I mean, they don't acknowledge it, but there's bass in their songs.
That doesn't seem to come from anywhere.
Well, I mean, can you really tell who's singing what part?
Sure.
Other than the lead?
Thing that I noticed in this movie is that there's so much beatboxing. It's like the base of all of these performances is beatboxing, and they don't have like they don't like ever do anything where it's like, we gotta get better at beatboxing, or they don't like talk about whose job it is to be beatboxing. Like, they kind of show the quiet girl doing it a couple times, but then there's just like, there's so much that it can't just be her. And I was just like, they're so indebted to the beatboxing, though, for any of this to work. And it feels like the movie really gives it short shrift.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially since the first one, the whole thing that she gets for the beatboxing thing was she sits next to the other guy that was beatboxing, and then she does this like little basic thing to show that she's interested in it, and then all of a sudden she's beatboxing in the finale.
Yeah. She's absorbed his beatboxing powers.
She ate him in between movies. Okay, so you guys want to talk high point, low points?
Sure.
Start out low, because we started high last time?
Sure, we can start out low.
Seems like you guys have some low points to discuss.
I guess I kind of already said one of them.
Okay.
Which was the way that they handle Chloe's character in this.
Agreed. They did like a mini callback to her and Becca having this like weird sexual tension between them, but it was like for a split second.
Where they're like talk to each other laying down, and it looks like they're going to upside down Spider-Man kiss, but they don't.
Yeah, and then Becca gets tongued on the nose by the
girl.
Yeah, what's her name?
Sklorbis.
Lily.
I was close.
No, you were not. Her name Lily.
Her name Lily.
The one who's quiet but also good at beatboxing.
Whose bit we completely ruined by watching these movies with the subtitles on.
Yes, I think we said that first.
We did happen again.
Episode.
I feel like she was less quiet in this one. Like, I feel like what she was saying was more intelligible.
Yeah. So, Sunny, give us a low point.
A low point, I don't know if I have a specific one. Like, the big problem with this movie was a bunch of things that were bad all piled together. Mm-hmm. Instead of, like, one big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there wasn't really, like, a point where I was like, this is the bad part of the movie.
Same.
But there was a lot of points where, like, something would be happening, I'd be like, I care.
I just wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Just move on to the next thing.
There was
please.
A thing that did bug me every time it happened were the scenes with Benji and Emily. The bit is that he's an old man pretending to be a teenager.
Just like Dear Evan Hansen.
It is him. It is he of Evan Hansen fame.
Yeah, Ben Platt.
Yeah, he's going through a real heel turn right now. But this was before that. He wears really bad shorts in one scene. He wears like shorts and a sweater vest. Anyway, the problem is that the bit is that, like, he just, like, can't talk around her.
Mm-hmm. Awkward guy mumbles.
It just sucks. Like,
yeah.
The romance in the previous movie was not, like, amazing or super well written or super naturally written, but it was, like, perfectly
cute.
Charming and cute, yes.
Yeah, the two characters had chemistry.
And, like, I understood why they were falling for each other. They had actual scenes together.
They worked together.
There was the whole thing with, like, the movies and the movie endings and, like, there was stuff to it. There's nothing to this. It feels so,
like, they would get together for a scene and be really, really, really uncomfortably fucking awkward.
Yeah.
And then the scene's over.
Yep.
And then on top of that, he looks much... One, it's already kind of weird because he's a senior who's trying to get with a freshman. Also, he looks way older than her, even though I think they're only like 4 or 5 years apart in real life.
Yeah. I mean, senior getting with a freshman is not the worst because it's just 3 years.
Yeah, but it feels the power dynamic.
True. But yeah, so I can't think of any big bad moment to point to.
Alright, so I guess that would be a low point for me. Another low point is the non-stops.
Oh, yeah. When they go to Worlds, the Indian team are called the Non-Stops. Like,
which doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's neither it's one, like, you pointed
It's
out.
not a music pun, and it's an English pun. The Indian team has an English pun for their name.
Yeah. I think you're tapping into...
I have one more thing.
Okay.
The other low point was the fact that the movie literally opens with a Jew joke.
Yeah.
It does.
That was not good.
But they don't keep doing it in the way they kept doing it in the previous one.
Yeah, but it's... but I think...
they take it, they do it with Flo.
Oh, yeah,
with her thing. Which is the other low point. I mean, it's not Jew jokes, but it's like, taking a group of people and just like doing that joke over and over again.
Makes sense. There's at one point in the movie where like everybody gets upset about something that happens. Oh, they get upset because Cynthia, during her performance, accidentally gets her head on fire from some sparks that's happening because the performance is all over the place. And she blames Flo, and Flo's like, don't blame the minority.
I didn't even pick up on that.
And that's like the whole joke.
The only like dialogue that registered in the fire scene for me was just her repeatedly yelling, "Fat Amy, I'm on fire," which I thought was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, actually, Nate told me when we were watching it, he wants to get that on his tombstone.
Fat Amy, I'm on fire.
When he does.
Yeah.
So, I think what you were tapping into, Sonny, which is what I was trying to say, is that the ending of this movie, which is super rushed, has the rest of the world groups, besides Dance Sound Machine and Arbella's, just do any way you want it. In a montage, in different languges, and it's bad. Yeah, it's very bad.
This is also kind of a... Well, I want to talk about it now because we're talking about it now, but it's also kind of a bubble bath moment.
Yes.
Which is we're shown this through a montage, which is cut in a way where it looks like all the other teams have been singing Any Way You Want It and trading off on it through the entire day, because it starts with the Canadian group singing it while it is light out. Then they switch off to the Indian group and other groups. Then it goes back to the Canadian group, and now it's dark, and it's the same song. And then it cuts back to the Indian group to finish it off. Like, what was supposed to be happening over the course of this montage? Why does it go from day to night?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very confusing montage.
The thing is, like, the movie, it's established, like, part of the language of these movies. They have another version of the riff-off in this. So the idea of, like, medleys and of teams, like, switching off songs and switching through songs is a well-established thing. So why didn't the montage just have them switch and flow from Any Way You Want It into other songs to indicate other teams performing other songs over the course of the day?
Yeah, the movie proved that could be done. Why not just do it? Also, I'll take this point to just say that Pentatonics, a noted YouTube acapella group,
they blew up from the sing-off.
Yes, they played Team Canada.
Like the jerk off.
The Non-Stops were played by a acapella group called Pen Masala, which is an American acapella group.
Okay.
And then the Philharmonic played Team Philippines.
I didn't
We
even
just
pick
didn't
up
even notice.
on them at all.
Did not even notice.
Yeah, like, why does that even matter?
Right.
But that was the thing in the other one, too, where it was like the teams at the end competition were played by real acapella groups.
Were they?
I think so. Because some of they seemed too, like, regular looking. I was, like, pretty sure they're real acapella groups.
Yeah, you know what? Sockapella is real.
Well, no, I meant the end competition.
I know.
Acapella is real in my heart.
Any other low point?
Hmm.
I don't have any more.
No, I don't really have anything specific that I want to call out.
So our decided upon last time group low point for the series is abandoning girl power elements / singing only songs by girl artists in the first movie, where they just jump from that and it doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
Do we want to pick a low point for this movie and put it against that? My low point is the ending montage.
I feel like a low point for this movie doesn't... I mean, that's still the low point of that other movie.
No, but what we're saying is our new low point for the entire franchise.
For the franchise.
I think the flow stuff in this is worse than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's long and not funny most of the time, and insensitive.
Yeah, the movie's like, I don't know.
So what do I write down for that?
The flow bit.
Okay.
We'll remember.
So firstly, the two of you, Sonny and Nate, are agreeing that the flow bit is the worst part of this movie.
I think...
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's, yeah.
And we're saying that flow bit is worse than the worst part of Pitch Perfect 1.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if reading
I'm not voted.
that worst part of Pitch Perfect 1, like, it's not even on the same level.
Yeah, that was like a thing where we were like kind of annoyed by it by the end of the movie. Whereas like this was the thing that every time it came up I was like, stop doing this bit.
Like, yeah, just fucking stop. But like, that first thing was just like, oh, this movie was pretty good, but it's weird that they did that thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to play devil's advocate for a second. Because I can kind of understand the flow bit. Because this whole movie is like white privilege problems, right? Mm-hmm. Acapella groups, who cares? And they bring in like this person to talk about things that are actually issues in third world countries. And I get that bit.
They turn her into a fucking joke.
They turn into a joke. That's the problem.
I
get the idea behind it, is what I'm saying.
I think you're giving you way too much credit. I don't think that's the thought process behind it at all.
Definitely not.
If that was the thought process, she would, like, the joke would be that they would be going off about something that's a problem with their a cappella group.
Yeah.
And then she would stop them and be like, what?
Well, that's not a problem.
Yeah, but
this is a problem.
But at one point she says, I might be deported and then die in the middle of the sea trying to swim back to the country.
That's the most that the bit works, I think. I mean, I think the funniest part is I had diarrhea for 7 years because I had diarrhea for 7 years. I think the most the bit works is when everyone's talking about their future and she's like, I'm going to die at sea.
That's where I see it coming from, but maybe I am giving it too much credit.
But even then, like, it wasn't funny. It was just kind of, like, painful.
Alright, so our current franchise low point is the flow bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Easy.
Now, let's do high points.
You know what's a real low point in this movie, though, that I've realized now? It's made me less excited for Cocaine Bear.
What?
That's Elizabeth Banks' next movie she's going to direct.
I see. Okay.
About a bear that eats a lot of cocaine.
Oh.
Yes. Based on a real life story.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, do you guys want to go to high points now?
Sure.
Okay. I'll start us off. I thought that the riff-off in the first movie was more fun, but I still like the riff-off in this movie. Specifically, when Reggie Watts does that beat intro.
True. Reggie Watts is
the cat noise?
The cat noise.
I wrote down the cat noise.
That's really good. I don't like the riff-off in this because I don't get it. Like,
yeah. I mean,
the previous one, it was like, this is a thing they all, like, do on the side in this, like, scene at this school where there's all of these different groups and they compete with each other. This is, like, in the middle of the movie, an eccentric rich guy played by David Cross invites them to their mansion to do the riff-off, but less focused, because do they have to do the, like, trading off on the word?
So it wasn't the word. They had to keep the beat, but that's like...
Follow the leader
You can really...
It felt lazier.
Yeah, they just really wanted to be able to do whatever songs they wanted. Like, the restriction of having to match the words was too hard for them.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. So he invites them to do...
You couldn't see it, but Sonny did like a fake thing where it's like feeling bad for them.
Yeah, it was like a sort of like bless their heart sort of thing.
It was very funny. Good job.
They invite them to their mansion to do this riff-off with other groups, including the Green Bay Packers, which is a funny joke.
Yes.
This part had funny bits in it. The award for the competition is for a $42,000 gift card to Dave & Buster's.
42 G's at D&B's.
Yeah, that's for sure a high point.
Funny. David Cross not being able to pick up the mallet was funny.
Yeah, well, and then he specifically says that his arms are tired from saluting the flag. But it's so much more absurd than the rest of this movie. It feels like...
They also, rushed it in there, because obviously they knew they had to get a riff off in here.
Yeah, but it's all of a sudden, it's now we're an episode of Community. And we're just going to do, 10 minutes from an episode of Community in the middle of the movie and then go back to the rest of the movie.
Yeah. But to build off of that, my second high point would have been Das Sound Machine in general. They're
Das Sound Machine, easy.
Yeah,
good performers, including the wonderful Flula Borg, who was in the Suicide Squad recently as Javelin.
Oh, man. The great Gazoo himself.
Also, in this movie, he has a terrible bit where he over-explains jokes.
It's I get the joke of his joke. It just doesn't really work very well.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I guess it's supposed to be because he's German and he's super literal or something.
Yeah.
He's a robot man.
He's Drax.
Yeah. He wears a see-through shirt. That's pretty good.
Yeah. He's ripped.
Yeah, and he has an extremely square head.
He does.
And he's so tall.
Yeah. But Das Sound Machine is good. I think that's a high point for me.
Yeah. I feel like their final performance is better than the Bella's final performance. Das Sound Machine should have won. # justice for Das Sound Machine. It is... Well, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. That was good. I really liked... That's it.
Okay. Also, big shout out to... Can't even pronounce her name. I'm going to try. Brigitte Hort Svorensen, who was the female leader commissar of Das Sound Machine. She was also really good.
Yeah. And she's
I didn't want to just talk about Flula Borg.
Yeah. She's very good, too. She's also very tall.
Very tall.
I think she's a Broadway person.
Yeah.
I liked how she sexually intimidated Anna Kendrick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another one of my high points is her just interaction with Anna Kendrick and them dipping a little bit more into Becca potentially being bi.
Yeah, she keeps trying to insult them, and every insult is a compliment.
Yeah.
Which I love, but I really wish that they would have responded to her.
Yeah, so it's she's saying the jokes from off screen.
Yeah.
Even there was a few times where she said it directly to her face, and then they would just say something unrelated. They'd just move on to the next thing they were gonna say.
Yeah, the compliments didn't even faze her. Yeah. Any other high points, Sonny?
I have some quotes.
Okay, we'll save those for later. Nate?
No, do them now.
No. Nate?
No, we should do them now.
Nate.
I thought we killed that bit. It's the worst.
If you have quotes, we're going to use that bit.
No, I'm saying them now. And the quotes should go in this part if they're good.
Okay.
And if they're not good, we don't need to recite them.
You heard this, everybody. Nate is a dictator. He's forcing it on other people.
Yeah, well, you deserve it.
So one of my high points is when Fat Amy says, "Sorry, my boobs were all crazy. I was jumping."
Yeah, that's
when
what
she
I was
answers the
say.
door, so we don't see the jumping. So she was just I guess jumping up and down off screen.
No, the bit is that just from going down the stairs.
Oh, well, that's less funny.
She literally, you see her walk down the stairs and she builds up a sweat and she's like, "Oh, I was jumping." It's not
I don't think that's a bit though, because
so.
that's not
It's
jumping.
to
that was the
cover
bit.
her going down the stairs being winded.
Okay.
I don't think so.
That's the way I read it.
I mean, the way I read it was she walked to the door and said, "Sorry, my boobs are crazy. I was just jumping."
Okay, so give
That
us
was
your
great.
good quotes if you have some, Sonny, since
I mean,
Dave
it
has
was-
killed Quote Corner.
It was that one. The one sexist joke that the what's his name makes was
John?
actually kind of funny.
John of the commentators.
Yeah. When
What
he
joke?
said, "Well, the truth is you're just women. You'll all be pregnant soon." That was actually kind of funny.
I like the part when they're doing the news montage in the beginning after the part where Fat Amy shows her vagina to the president, where one of the newscaster says that the authorities have ruled out terrorism as a motivating factor.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
What do you got, Josh?
I don't have anything else. Oh, no, I have one more thing.
Okay. I thought you were being insistent because you had quotes that you were going to do in Quote Corner.
No, I don't.
You didn't have any quotes, but you were going to make us do a Quote Corner?
Yeah.
You're the dictator. You're the monster.
Twist.
What a twist!
No, my other high point is not a quote. It's just, I thought the retreat montage was fun. Where they were singing the songs and doing just...
I was tired of
having a time.
montages.
There are too many montages in this.
That's true.
I don't necessarily... I'm not a huge fan of the weird training montage where they're doing a bunch of Not before the retreat, where they're
Yeah.
doing a bunch of, like, extraneous, like, stunts.
Yeah.
For some reason.
But I did like the payoff of that, where they start adding more and more bits on top of their performance that culminates in...
Being on fire.
Yeah. Where it's like, all of a sudden, like, Fat Amy is doing, like, devil sticks while she's singing. Like, that was a pretty good gag.
Oh, you know, I do have one quote. Holy guacamole.
I wrote that down too. That's the only Aka joke I've liked.
This has the worst Aka joke.
Oh my god, it does.
What? Which
When one of the Green Bay Packers says, "This Aka appointment."
Oh my god, yeah.
I think they did that in the first one.
Did they do it? But they do it again here, and it's delivered worse because a football player is saying it.
Yes. But the Green Bay Packers should have been in this movie. We're not going to argue about that.
No, it's funny that the Green Bay Packers are there like they're an a cappella group, and they're like huge, and one of them is wearing like a blazer with no sleeves.
Okay. Do we want to pick a high point, or is there any... Did we miss any high points? I think we got them all, right?
I think we got them all.
I really liked Das Sound Machine's Muse cover.
Yeah, their music cover was good. Reminded me that Muse exists, and was popular around the year this movie came out.
Which song did they do that was a Muse song?
Uprising?
Uprising.
Which one is that? I'm not familiar with Muse.
It's Uprising, a song by Muse.
Not familiar with Yeah, I don't remember this at all now.
Yeah. Anyway.
What do you think of the high point of this movie is, Josh?
If I had to pick one...
You do have to pick one. It's the premise of the show.
I would pick Das Sound Machine.
Yeah, I was going to say Das Sound Machine.
Yeah.
I thought they were very fun. They made the riff off great, especially like the ending when they were just like having a good time.
Yeah.
And all their performances were fun. I wish their performance at the ending was longer.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Oh, there was one more funny thing. When Fat Amy was singing her love song to Bumper, and then the car gets in her way, that was pretty funny.
What was a missed opportunity in that bit, because the sound wasn't diegetic, so she was singing this whole song to Bumper from a kayak on a lake halfway across the whole field, and they act like they could hear her perfectly.
I like that whole sequence, and I like when she's singing the song and it keeps cutting to Bumper, and he's like, no. And she's like getting closer and closer, slowly, and then, he's into it by the end.
Yeah.
I actually, kind of hated that whole sequence, but when she got interrupted by the car, I thought it was funny.
Okay.
Contentious.
So, Sonny, if you had to pick a high point, what would your high point be?
I think we all just said it was Das Sound Machine.
No, I said it was Das Sound.
Yeah, then we all agreed with you.
It's Das Sound Machine.
Okay, we're all agreeing with Josh. That's a first. Das Sound Machine is the high point of this movie.
What is
that higher than the high point of Pitch Perfect 1, which is the thing I was outvoted for, the puke scene?
Yeah, it's better than the puke scene, I think. Probably, right? Or no, is it?
I don't know.
I personally think it's better than the puke scene, but I was outvoted last time, so I don't know if I have a say.
Funny.
I think it's the puke scene. I think the puke scene's it. Because the thing is, think about what this show is actually about, Josh. Putting Das Sound Machine as the series high point is not useful to us, because all that tells us is that in our pitch we go, and there should be some people that are good at doing music in it.
Okay, but what is the puke scene?
We gotta come up with something that's funny or funnier than the puke scene. That gives us something that we as people who can only come up with ideas and write stuff out, can work against the puke scene. We can't really do anything with, unless our pitch is we literally have Das Sound Machine in,
which we could.
But then if that's the case, then they should be in the essentials list, or it should just be something that we remember.
True. Okay, I'm sold. Sonny, how do you feel about puke and scenes about puke in movies?
I'm not a fan, but I'm gonna agree with Nate.
All right, there we go.
All right, Nate, you win again.
I had a nickel for every time somebody said that.
Monster. Okay.
I had a nickel for every time somebody said that.
Now that we've firmly established that Nate's a monster, which we've done before, but we'll do again and continue to do throughout our entire run of this podcast, we should probably stop thinking about puke, take a second, cool our jets, clean our minds and souls and bodies of all the things that might have baffled us in this movie as we enter the bubble bath together as a group.
I got nothing.
I got some stuff.
Why?
What is every except for the Bard and Bellas, which is just sounds like a sports team name.
Mm-hmm.
Every a cappella group in this has a pun name for the most part.
Yes.
I guess Das Sound Machine isn't really a pun, but it's they're German and they're mechanical. There's a joke to their name.
Yeah. We have the non-stops or the treble makers.
Yeah. Acapella. They're not in this movie, but in the franchise. The washed up acapella group from the previous movie returns, but they've traded out Harmar Superstar and Donald Faison for Reggie Watts and
The
John
PC,
Hodgman.
Yeah, John Hodgman. PC from the PC Mac commercial.
And then also Adam Devine's there. Is he replacing anybody?
He's just there?
Yeah,
He's
there was
part
4 of them in the first movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now there's 5.
So he's
Joe Latroggio's still in there, and then also, what's his name?
the guy that none of us could
The other guy.
recognize.
Jason Jones.
Sure, Jason Jones. Is he even notable? What's he in?
He's a correspondent on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Okay. Well then.
Anyway.
They're still there, but it's a new crop. They're in this movie. They're in the weird riff-off part, which is called, like, the Laser Dragon Ninja League.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I like that.
I hate that bullshit.
You're outvoted.
I mean, it's awful. It's terrible, but that's kind of why it's funny. Like, this is some fucking nerd gathering people in his basement.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're called the Tone Hangers. We could not figure out what that means.
Yeah.
Why are they called that? What is the pun on tone? What is like bone hanger?
Is it like hanger on? Like they're just like the joke is that they can't give up being an acapella even though they're old?
Then shouldn't they be called the Hanger Tones or something like that?
What's that one?
That's
explain yourself.
You literally just said it. You said it. Maybe it's a fun on Hanger On.
I know. I did that to make you mad, and it worked.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, the whole time they were on screen, I was just like, because I don't know if they're named in the previous movie. I don't think they were because we didn't react to it.
I think they did have a...
If they did, it was like on their like sign behind them or something. I don't think it was said. But then they're introduced very pointedly along with all the other competing groups as the Hangers.
Yeah, and Joe Truglio, I know I'm fucking up his name. I don't care. Repeats his masochism bit in like a very like blingy you'll miss it thing.
Yeah, that was.
I missed that.
Yeah, I missed it too.
It's when Becca starts the Before He Cheats cover, and then like she goes up to him like doing like a threatening like cross your neck gesture, and he's like, "Please, like please kill me, please beat me up."
Can I
honestly same.
Can I give a pitch for what their name actually should have been?
Yes.
They should have been called the Ingrown Toenails.
Okay, moving on. I want to talk about Eminem's Rocket Ship.
Oh my god. Eminem's Rocket Ship.
I think that's funny. I think it's baffling.
Yeah.
No, I just enjoyed it. I just wanted to bring it up.
I forgot about that.
It is a rocket ship. It doesn't go. The line is. He was in a rock.
No, so Keegan-Michael Key's producer character.
Yeah,
I
he
forgot.
says he was in a rocket ship that Eminem built, and then there's like a beat, and then he says it doesn't go anywhere, but he's got dreams.
And the reason that he was in a rocket ship was to listen to Snoop Dogg's Christmas album.
Yeah,
together. I love that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
Also trapped hang gliding with T.I.
Yes, in a golden hang glider.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. He had some funny lines.
Yeah,
he also had
wasn't
some
bad.
like stuff that made me uncomfortable.
Like what?
It's just like he was just being really mean to that one guy for so long.
Well, let's talk about that. So Dax is apparently his nephew.
Yeah, I guess he's his nephew. He's a hipster.
He's a hipster, and everything that he does pisses off Keegan-Michael Key, which includes having too much food in the fridge. Kalimba.
He suggests they replace bells with Kalimba.
And then a very classic quote that belongs in the bowl bath, where for some reason in this scene, Keegan-Michael Key banishes Dax to the other side of the room because he said a dumb comment. He's like, go sit in a corner. And then for no reason whatsoever, Dax is like, but what about my sriracha?
To be clear, he does say eat your lunch in the corner. And then he says, so two things. You've made it both more and less understandable. He says, go eat your lunch in the corner. And then I'm pretty sure the line is, but what am I going to do with my sriracha? What do you mean, what are you going to do with it?
And then he just takes it with him.
They just wanted him to say sriracha so bad because he's a hipster.
Yeah.
And then it's not a sriracha bottle. It's not like it's just like a bottle of red hot sauce.
No, it's sriracha.
It's not. I mean, it's not like the Rooster bottle.
It was.
It's like conical.
Yeah. There's more. Like they sell the conical bottles that's still sriracha.
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
Moving on.
Can we love Das Sound Machine, but can we talk about their one ending to the finale with the Hiroshima statue recreation?
It's the Iwo Jima, raising of the flag. They end by recreating the raising of the flag statue, where it's but they all gather together and they make kind of like that people triangle, and then the flag is projected on the back. Weird move because they're a German team.
Yes.
And they're competing in Germany.
Yes.
Feels weirder now because of recent events, but just in general, I was like, what's just a weird power move that's not called out. And even though they have a character who we know, who is named and has lines, who's hanging out in the crowd watching them holding an American flag.
Yes. Very weird. Do you have another one? Because I have a few more.
I know that there are other ones, and now I am blanking on them.
So, moving on. Talk about the David Cross riff-off guy hurt his arm saluting the flag. Very good stuff. Talk about the Obama cameo, which is entitled Muffgate. I just want to point that out, because Fat Amy's vagina gets shown to Obama. Mm-hmm. Which is used... Obama wasn't actually in this movie. It was just like...
When he's there, you see him. He's on screen.
But it's archival footage.
It's still on screen.
But, imagine, if you're Obama and you would, hey, we want to put you in Pitch Perfect, but not you. You have to sign off on this?
I don't know. Maybe they just licensed the footage from, a news thing or something.
And then Nate hated this part. I'm surprised you didn't talk about it more in the low points, is ending the riff off with the original song.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I hated it just because, I don't know. It just seems like a dick move.
That was so uncomfortable and stupid.
So part of the riff off is that when David Cross points to you, you have to be the one that does the next song. Even if you're part of the group, you have to be the person.
And there's a theme. You have to go on the theme. The theme at that point in the riff off is 90s hip hop, right?
90s hip hop jams, yeah.
And then they point to Emily, and she starts singing her one original song that she
hasn't finished yet. She hasn't even finished it yet at that point.
Which is also, it's not a hip-hop song, it's not from the 90s, it's an original song. Everyone gets mad at her.
David Cross says he hates her.
Yeah, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it was just why would you do that?
Why? Literally why?
I get why it's there narratively, it's not, it's the reason why it's a thing I didn't bang on in the low points, but it is just we get it. She's got a song. I don't know. It makes it feel... It's she only ever thinking about this one song? Why isn't her hobby just songwriting and not being in this group if she can't think about anything except this one song about a flashlight?
Yeah, her whole character's I want to be a Bard and Bella because that's everything I've ever wanted to be.
They should have picked one of those two things to be her deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. My final one is the movie's concept of the group fixing the problems on them and having them be better is they start off doing everything with the devil sticks and the fire and everything, and then they go to the retreat and they find their sound by just hanging out and trusting each other and learning to do less.
I don't even know what that meant.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. That's a good point.
We found our sound.
Their problem wasn't they didn't have sound. The problem was that they're doing too much.
Yeah, I guess the idea is they're too much in their own heads about the competition, and then being at the retreat lets them refocus. But
they worded it badly. It's if they're all right, we got to find our confidence. Sure, fine, but what does it mean to find your own sound versus the problems you had previously?
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's it for my baffling moments. Nate, do you have any more?
No.
Sonny, do you have any? Any that we haven't talked about? Anything at all that we haven't talked about, really?
Yeah, how come the movie's 2 hours long and I feel like I don't know anything about any of the characters in it?
That's a good point.
That is a very good point.
Not a single one gets anything.
Becca gets something, right? And Emily gets a little bit, but most of the characters just have, a thing, and then, I think you mentioned this when you were watching it.
Half of something. Her plot line happened, and it just, stops.
Yeah, she impresses Keegan-Michael Key, but then there's, nothing...
a firm resolution.
He's just, looking forward to working with you. And, that's it. He does... There's not, At least... She has the subplot in the first one where it's, she's working at the radio station, she's making the mashups. And there's the part where her song is played on the radio. She gets something concrete out of that subplot. But there really isn't anything in this one.
Yeah.
There could have been, an ending where they drive and they listen to the flashlight on the radio, I guess.
Or he shows up and helps them with the performance or something.
Yeah.
Anything. But nothing that happens in this movie matters even at all.
You were saying when we were watching it that every side character just shows up to say their bit and that's it.
Every
there's no
scene,
development.
Yeah, every scene is just okay, everyone's got to get their bit out and then we can move on to the next scene.
Every single scene, and it gets so repetitive and underdeveloped at all.
Here's a baffling that's actually baffling thing and not a low point like we've been doing recently. The fucking very end of this movie, they're it's a tradition to do a sled down the steps.
Since when?
And the movie ends on a freeze frame on Emily's face while she's about to slide down the steps in the classic Bella tradition that they didn't do in the previous movie or earlier in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's treated like a big emotional moment.
Well, okay, so what they're trying to do, I think, might be giving them too much credit, is to just establish Emily got what she wanted. To be a part of the Bella legacy.
Yeah, but why do I care?
Fair point. But also, why does that symbolize to them doing, like, riding a slide down the steps? I don't get it.
No, I don't get that either. It's like they, had this scene that didn't fit in earlier in the movie and they just put it at the end for some reason.
What it should have been is it should have ended with them giving her the pitch pipe and then she blows it one time and it cuts on that.
Yeah.
That would have made sense.
If it was going to be anything to symbolize, like, she's in charge now.
Like, they gave her the keys to the frat house that they're staying, sorority house that they're staying in.
Which is also not really a thing, because in the previous movie, Becca lives in a dorm with a girl who hates her.
Yeah, they didn't have sorority house.
It's been a few years at this point. Maybe they just got a dorm.
Yeah,
whatever.
so the thing that I said while we're watching the movie when we got to this part is this feels like we watched the series finale for a sitcom where we had only seen the first episode and the first episode was the first movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like now they live in a house and they have this tradition and they're all smiling. And it feels like it's like, oh, like in season 3, there was like a really beloved episode where they rode sleds down the steps and everyone thought it was really funny and the fans referenced it all the time. And so we gotta put it in the finale. Except none of that happened.
Yeah. That's a pretty good addition to the bubble bath. I think I'm out and it sounds like that's it.
Yeah.
So we're going to dry off and step out of the bubble bath real quick and move on to essentials.
Boy.
The previous essentials that we established were acapella singing, or hat and vest for this season.
Sure, they definitely had it in this movie.
Rebel Wilson's Fat Amy.
She's all over the movie.
The riff off.
It's here. It's very forced.
Yes. Just you wait. Commentators, the Elizabeth Banks and Michael Higgins characters.
They're only kind of funny sometimes.
Yeah,
they were worse in this movie. Rivals, in general.
Yeah, I guess there's rivals.
Competitions leading up to the big finale, which I don't really get in this movie.
I think there's...
We just get a big finale.
They do a performance, but I don't think it's a competition. It's
no.
a performance at like a car show or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, the Sound Machine does a performance at a car show. They do a performance at like...
some kind of weird dining hall?
I think it's like a retirement home.
Yeah, it's very...
Or it's like I don't know. There's a bunch
does
of people.
not matter. That's where like the hair gets on fire, but also doesn't matter. And then mashups is what we put on this, which they still do.
They still do. She does a Christmas mashup for Snoop Dogg.
I think we can cut mashups.
I definitely don't think that they're...
So we're cool with like not have mashups essential?
Yeah, I don't think they're essential.
Okay.
Like
they just did like general covers.
Yeah, this movie established that mashups are not powerful enough to go forward.
Yeah.
Like, the mashup is going to become, like, it's like the Kamehameha, where maybe they do, like, a big mashup at the end, because, like, everybody, like, they defeat Saul with the Kamehameha.
Sure.
But it's like, that's just, like, the end after they do a whole bunch of other stuff.
I guarantee you, if you listen to this podcast, no one would have in their bingo card that Nate would talk about Dragon Ball Z during a Pitch Perfect podcast, but here we are.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Alright, so mashups, it sounds like we're taking that off.
Yeah, I think we could take that off.
Are we taking anything else off?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Well, I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay, are we adding anything?
Okay.
From this movie? No.
Does this movie have any ideas that are necessary going forward?
No.
What did this movie think was essential? What did this movie make sure to carry over?
The riff-off.
Made sure to carry over the riff-off, which we...
The commentators.
Yeah, so it's mostly stuff we've already listed.
Made sure to carry off that lovable thing that Fat Amy does where she slides down the stairs on a...
Yeah, everyone's favorite part where they slide down this... Put that on the essentials.
The movie thought it was essential to bring back Adam Devine.
Yeah, it did bring back Adam Devine.
Is that essential?
No.
The movie thought it was essential for Becca to have a thing that divides her from the group.
Is it essential for Becca to have, a career-focused subplot? Because it's in both of these movies.
Probably not.
We didn't even say that Becca was essential.
Yeah, we said
despite
that,
how much we talked about how we love Anna Kendrick, Sonny specifically, I'm looking at you. We said that Fat Amy was essential, but Becca's not.
Yeah, well, the way I put it specifically is that Fat Amy is like the Jim's dad.
Explain that reference for people who don't get it.
In all the weird American Pie sequels and spin-offs, Eugene Levy is just there. Even though none of like the other characters from American Pie are in like The Naked Mile or whatever, but Eugene Levy's there because everyone loves him.
Got it. Okay, so is Becca essential? And if she's not essential, is some career subplot essential?
No,
for anybody.
I don't think we need to like force that into. If that makes sense for a character to have, then sure. But I don't think it's essential.
Okay. What else does the movie think is essential?
I think the movie thinks it's essential to have a character that is like super intense about the competitions.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it does.
But because
Do we
it
think
forces
that's
a character that where it's not her deal to be that character.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not essential.
I-
It's weird that they did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this movie makes sure to bring back the quiet girl too. Is she essential? No.
No.
Are Chloe and Aubry essential? Because they're also both in this movie.
I think Chloe's essential. I like Chloe. But if we're saying Becca's not essential, then I don't know.
No, I think.
Where do we draw the line here?
not essential.
Why is Fat Amy essential but no one else is?
See,
Can
my-
you explain this?
Because I feel like that's like she adds like a texture to the movie. I don't think that she's essential in that she needs to be a main character, but I think that like you gotta have her come in and do a bit.
Yeah.
She's like
that.
it's like when they always say I got a bad feeling about this in Star Wars.
Yes.
It's like that.
Speaking about that, I want to go back and ruin this podcast structure by just bringing up a low point that I totally forgot about.
A lot of low
where
points in this
Fat Amy goes outside during the camping trip to take a shit and doesn't have any toilet paper and uses the side of the tent.
Okay, but that was also funny
But
because then
so
she's like,
gross.
she's like, all right, I need y'all to sing to help it get out, and then they just start singing a song. She's like, yep, it's flowing now.
It's not
It's
funny
coming out
in
like
the.
froyo is what she said.
I do think they
Ugh.
stick the landing on this joke because when it starts and she's just shouting poop jokes from off screen,
Yeah.
I was not into it.
Not into it.
But then the turn of you have to sing and then they're singing and she's still doing the poop jokes. It becomes funny.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Sure. Fine. For me, it was a low point because I don't like gross out jokes. Anyway.
Puke is still the high point.
Yeah. It really isn't my season. So, Fat Amy, we're still saying is essential, I guess, and no other characters are. It sounds like, from both of you, that we don't have any more essentials. It seems like we should move on.
I guess. I really can't think of anything. This is like the sparsest essentials list we've ever had.
Yeah, we only have like...
I mean, honestly, it was all
6
in the first.
things.
It was all in the first movie. This one is just like floundering.
I feel like you just make a comedy about an acapella singing competition.
Yeah.
Then you have a Pitch Perfect movie.
Yeah,
Like
that's how I feel.
Okay. One last thing. Just want to confirm that we're still... Even though we said the commentators were worse in this movie, do we think they're still essential?
Yeah.
I think there does have to be someone who is. I don't think it needs to be those characters.
It doesn't
Yeah.
need to be John Michael Higgins and Elizabeth Banks.
I do
No.
think there needs to be someone who is providing context for what's happening and for the stakes of the competition and to like underline when things are going poorly or goodly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, that could be the Fat Amy role if she's graduated.
That's what was my pitch in the first one was that she should become one of the commentators.
Okay.
That's
not
your
a bad
link to the
idea.
past. She kind of becomes like, again, like, you know how like Chewbacca sticks around through all of the sequel trilogy? She's kind of the Chewbacca.
Ooh, we should, at the movie we pitch, we should pretend we're killing her off in a spaceship crash.
Yeah, and then reveal that she was
reveal that
alive
she's
20
alive.
minutes later.
And she gets a medal from Becca's dead corpse.
Yeah, Becca turns into a ghost, and then a tiny alien gives...
I'm sorry to spoil Rise of the Skywalker for anybody, but that movie sucks. Anyway,
It does.
It also came out like 3 years ago at this
yeah,
point.
screw that movie.
2 years ago.
Okay, so we're leaving the essentials as is. Sounds like we're not adding anything else. We're moving on. We just took off mashups.
It's going to be slowly stripping out essentials until it's like, is it really? Do they have to sing?
Yeah.
No, we're gonna get so many more essentials from the next movie.
So,
Okay. I'm quite excited for this next movie because I have genuinely no idea what it is.
so that's pretty much it. It seems like, is there anything else that anyone else wants to add that we haven't discussed at all?
Anna Kendrick is pretty.
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Like I said, this movie, like, there's not a lot of hot dudes in these movies.
Oh my
There's
god.
a paucity
yeah.
of dude hotness.
I mean, the Green Bay Packers were in this movie.
Yeah. You remember the beatboxing guy from the previous movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, like, looked him up. And he's, like, hot now. And
He was
that's
hot then.
not real. I don't think so.
It was like, okay, I guess.
He's, like... well, no, I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
I saw a picture of him with long hair and facial hair, and I was like, dang, dude. Like, 2012 was not a kind time to your style.
Ooh, it's gonna ruin this. Utkarsh Ambudkar.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
I found it.
He was in Free Guy.
He's in Free Guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he hot in Free Guy?
He was on Free Guy. He had longer hair.
Are you looking at the Google him?
Yeah.
Look at the picture of him.
Yeah, no, he's hot. He's hot now, I know. Anyway, so he's not in this movie because he presumably graduated and doesn't come back with Bumper Allen.
Yeah. How do we feel about him in this movie? Was he good or bad in this movie?
He was fine.
He sounds a lot like Jack Black when he sings now in this one.
Yes.
I didn't even recognize him in this one.
Adam Devine?
Oh, Adam Devine. Okay, I thought we were still talking about...
the beatboxing guy?
Yeah.
No, he's not in this movie.
No.
Yeah, I was gonna
Adam
say.
Devine is fine. He's in this movie specifically. I don't think he's essential. I don't think he's necessarily bad. He's just fine.
They should have roughed him up more. He should have like an eye patch and like been missing teeth.
Missing an arm.
Yeah, like he really went through the ringer in the 3 years.
I mean, he did go through the ringer in a way that he's now just a creepy hanger-on of
his
security guard at the college.
Sure. And his big joke that he has in this is in the riff-off, he implies and then sort of confirms that John Mayer is having had an affair with Tina Turner.
It's also implied that he made that up.
I mean,
It wasn't
I don't
implied
know.
that he made that up. It's that no one believed him. That's all it was.
Okay.
He's very confident about it when he starts the thing. Like, it feels like the bit is that he is like, yeah, this definitely happened.
Okay. So, I think that wraps it up for us with Pitch Perfect 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So, we appreciate you joining us again, Sonny. Thank you so much. Lovely to have you. And next movie, we're going to be doing Pitch Perfect 3, which Sonny and I, since we've seen it, both hope will blow Nate away.
Oh, I can't.
I have just... Okay.
I can't wait.
I just wanted to be clear. Like, we got to the end of the previous movie, and I was like, I don't know what the next one is. What do you do? Like, they already did the whole thing. And then they start this one, and it's like, okay, I guess there's just, like, a greater level of acapella competition. It's like they did nationals. Now there's a world competition that I guess everyone cares about. And, like, that's the movie. But then it, like, really seems to definitively end. They graduate. Becca's whole career as a music producer is starting. What the fuck is the next movie? Is there, like, do they go to space? Is the champion of the universe show up? And he's like, you have to acapella against Gleep Glorp from Zebulon 9. Like, what is this movie?
I really wish we got Pitch Perfect Space
That's a
Jam.
really good movie.
Well,
I
we
wish.
could pitch that as our thing in the finale.
I'm going to write that down.
Alright.
Okay, so with that in mind, now you might ask, what does the second turtle stand on? And to that, the little old lady would definitely answer, it's no use, Mr. James. It's turtles all the way down. Aka later!
You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair. You're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, I know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
I know, I can't get a good closer.